Tack.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brad Hannon and
Sean Noonan.
I sometimes forget to introduce him on the Insurance Sucks podcast. What's up, everybody? We got two really awesome, special, in so many ways, guests. My man, Tony Merwin. What's up, Tony?
What is up? Thank you for having me.
And his counterpart in the insurance syndicate and maybe in life, Joe Kampert. What's up, my man?
In life. If I'm Merwin's counterpart in life, guys, we're very special.
We need a whole new podcast for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where we start, considering we talked about all the good stuff in the back room before we went live. So if you're just tuning in, man, we've got a fun episode ahead. Hopefully we can rehash some of the stuff we just talked about. But, you know, I just want to say on a personal note, something real quick about Joe and Tony, and we'll get into some of the, the fun stuff we want to talk about. First personal note on the day. This podcast is like the greatest thing ever because Sean can attest. It's been like one of those days where you just feel like you're just getting smacked around, right? Like I just went, whatever I said earlier, 7 rounds with Mike Tyson,
which no one does.
You just come up from like working and you're like, oh my gosh, like that was I was deep in it, right? And so I needed this as an outlet. I needed this as a break. And if we had lame guests, then it would have been like not something I was looking forward to. But we got really awesome, exciting, some of my favorite people and some people I'm going to get to see later this week on Joe and Tony. And let me just tell you why I love these guys real quick. And then, Sean, you can talk in a moment about why you might like them too. But I will tell you that Tony will bend over backwards for anybody. Even just his post the other day, I saw the one in Syndicate that I was trolling you on. He genuinely wants to help all agents, whether they're agents that are coming on board with him or, a freaking, agent going 1,000,000 miles an hour in every direction like Joe Kampert. He's going to reel him in. And we talked about some of the stuff. I won't spoil some of the stuff we were talking about, but even what we were talking about backstage. Tony's a guy that just wants to help anybody. And Joe, obviously, a lot of the same characteristics, a lot of the same, the yellow in Joe, right? Nate's gonna get mad at me for that. Caring, man. He just wants to see everybody win. Look at Tony. I love it. And so I'm excited to have these guys on the second episode of the Insurance Sucks podcast. But for those of you that may be tuning in, maybe through my personal profile, or you may catch this afterwards, maybe you're not even in insurance, which what we're hoping to get is garnish an audience that maybe isn't just in insurance, maybe thinking about getting in insurance and realizing, hey, insurance doesn't suck all that bad because I watched the Insurance Sucks podcast and those people are pretty cool. Not Sean, but like me and you guys, So with that said, let me pass it over to you, Tony and Joe. And if you guys want to introduce yourself and, tell a little bit about what you do, and then we'll get rolling.
I thought you were going to let Sean talk.
No,
this
is
completely
usually how
whipped
our
right by him.
conversations go. Brad,
You didn't see the last episode? He talked like the whole time, man. Come on.
He did. He was flexing his crypto knowledge, something fierce. I do have a question for you, though. You said you went 7 rounds with Mike Tyson, but I don't see Mike Tyson's punch out in the background. I see Galaga, NBA Jams, and some other Konami
Pac-Man
game over there. I'm not sure what it is. Pac-Man.
That's Pac-Man, NBA Jams, Galaga.
Fire.
You definitely need a Mike Tyson's punch out in there.
Do we have a Mike Tyson's punch out? They don't make it yet. When they do, we'll get it. I think we have.
What's the original punch out? The Mike Tyson version was just on Nintendo, wasn't it? Or Super Nintendo?
Eric nods yes. So, and he's the collector of all the games. I say these are all Eric's machines. He's got like 20, 25 machines. He's got like 12 of these machines. I've never get to see his house, but man, I'd love to go see his house.
It's I feel like it's just a giant arcade.
It's just a big, like kitty land. Love it.
And roller coasters.
Yeah. Love it.
So Tony, what do you do, man? How do we know you and what's your role in the industry? And again, remember on the Insurance Sucks podcast, we talk about all things
not insurance,
but insurance.
But you told me to talk about insurance just now.
Brad's also a walking contradiction, so you got to read between the lines.
I'm a wholesale broker in the Medicare space, so I work with agents in all 50 states, coast to coast, like butter and toast. So,
wow,
that's it. That's it. That's all you got for us, Merwin.
So you're gonna follow that?
Do you need anything else? Come on.
I'm
what do you do, Joe?
Man, you know what? This goes back to, look, obviously Tony wasn't paying attention to Coach Burt 2 years ago at 8% because I don't sell insurance. I provide protection when disaster strikes and the lights turn off, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Come on.
Wow.
He ain't lying. This
I'm not
dude
using the
saved
word
me
insurance.
$3,000 a year on my insurance and tripled my coverage. The dude is
Oh,
outstanding
guys, you
at
want
what
to
he
see?
does.
You want to see Sean blush real quick? I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see. Look at that. Look at that hottie on the screen. Woo!
She's talking to me,
Janae.
obviously.
That's the future. Are you taking her last name? You're taking her last name, right?
absolutely not. Come on.
Oh yeah. So the future Mrs. Noonan right there.
That's right.
The future Mrs.
Excelente.
Noonan. She's popping in.
Congrats.
Well, guys, listen. Thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, it's always a pleasure. I get to see your pretty faces later on this week. What are we doing later this week? Why don't we talk about that real quick first? Given it's coming up, what, Friday, Saturday? Crap.
Yeah,
Both
both days.
Both days.
I mean, it's kind of funny you say counterpart too. So me and Tony have lived down the street from each other for I can't tell you how long, and then we went to one event, and then now we've literally been like just doing everything together. So we've got the agent hangout on Friday. That's where I'm at now. So I was actually I wanted to kind of shameless plug, like just show, hey, agents come
Scope
hang
it
out,
out.
right? But it kind of even ties into like what this podcast is about. It's like, man, 15 to 20 minutes of it is actually about insurance, but then the rest is all just like, dude, just like creating relationship and hanging out with people. And that's something that me and Tony were instantly able to do. And then so he kind of helped me kind of create that whole agent hangout. And then obviously we've got Syndicate, and then we're doing the Digital Frontier workshop. So we've got an action-packed Friday, Saturday here in Austin, Texas. And I'm super excited. Brad obviously is coming to do the agent hangout with us. And again, it's literally, it's a hangout. That's why I called it a hangout too.
I love it.
I think so many people do like a network after work or like those big groups, right? And it's like, literally come hang out. And this is your word of the year, Brad, is like, have some freaking fun, man.
No doubt.
Like not all this needs to be talking about what we do for a living, right? There's so much more that comes into it, that plays into what we do for a living that isn't necessarily the profession itself, right? And I'm still not going to use.
We get to see what you're really all about when you shake off
when I got my tall and frosties.
Vibes,
right.
Come
yeah,
on,
you got
I
your
gotta
tall
get
and frosty, baby.
Where's everybody else's drinks? I was like, dude, I'm supposed to have a tall and frosty, and
this is a tall and frosty as well, just different kind.
This is a short hot.
I like
man,
that
I
you
love
brought that up though, Joe, about other networking groups, because some of them are so hard structured that it removes actually the networking aspect of the whole reason why everybody shows up there, right? Everybody has to talk for 5 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And then the chairman talks, and then they pass the hat for donations or whatever. And that's it. It's like, what is this, right? Whereas yours is a little looser. You have one speaker every time that has a designated topic to coach us all on for 15 or 20 minutes. But the rest of the time is all about networking and relationship building. What do you do? How can you help me? How can I help you? How can we collaborate and build a strategic partnership? And that's truly where your hangout, I think, excels. And that's why I enjoy being a part of it. So thank you for including me.
I love it. I love it. I don't know if you guys heard you. I know both of you kind of listened into the last episode in the beta episode where we were just kind of testing the equipment. But my thought, one, from a selfish standpoint, I wanted to do this to just connect with more people, both inside and outside the insurance industry. But two, because I feel like, once you're in, okay, because there is, and I always have to clarify, because there's no amount of like great content out there that can be like too much, right? The more that it's at someone's fingertips, the more people are going to see because they're finding this content, or they're finding value in some sort of sales training or, something, right? There can never be too much of that. Okay. But I feel like also once you get into, Sean's right about the contradiction thing, because I'm about to contradict myself. Except for once you get into the space where it does exist, right? You're listening to all of the many, many pieces of content from all of the creators out there. And I won't even name drop, but there is an abundance of it. There is no outlet for insurance agents would talk about the things that they're doing on the side, right? Which, we'll get into the crypto, the barbecue stuff. I always love seeing your posts, Tony, on the barbecue side of things, real estate investing, or whatever you're doing outside of insurance to kind of break up the monotony, because insurance does suck, right? That's the point of this. And we try to make it suck a little bit less. And of course, we're having fun with that as well. We know it doesn't. When you need it, it's there. We love it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in it. I am kind of infatuated with it. Sean was impressed that we were even doing this, because he's like, you mean we're going to have something where like you're not talking about insurance for once?
That
it's
I
like,
don't have to talk about insurance 24/7.
It's almost like, because I saw there was a need for it, whether or not just in my life or maybe in the industry as a whole. I just feel like there was a need for something like this. So, and Joe, I think you're speaking to it a little bit. Tony, what's your thought on that?
I absolutely adore it, and that's why I'm here. So, and there's a couple of chords that kind of strikes with me, but exactly what you said, like, and that's one of the great things about insurance. If you do well at it, it provides you outlets to do other things that could be revenue driven, right? Increase your income and help you really develop multiple income streams. Ryan Ciccelli talked about that at one of the conference. I think it was at SWAT conference, and all the different things that he's got his fingers in now. I mean, the dude, he's got his hands. I mean, the guy he's on a list, just to give you an idea. He's on a list somewhere where there's a person that has to make a decision on where they need to send a giraffe to house.
He literally
owns
has
a wildlife
zoo.
sanctuary.
Yeah.
So he's at the top of that list that someone calls and like, hey, we have a giraffe we have to move somewhere. Can you handle it? And he's like, no problem. It's going to cost me $250,000. I'll just go sell a couple annuities and I'll pay for it. It'll be done. Piece of cake. So, I mean, that's one of the cool things about insurance in that regards. Not that we're going to continue beating the insurance horse on the Insurance Sucks podcast where we never talk about insurance, but it does give you the avenue to do other things. And a podcast like this allows us to now collaborate and share and develop and talk about those extra things that you can do.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And I've always felt like, and granted, Brad's my upline, so it was always
he means daddy
upline. Anyways, so it was always like like it's the elephant in the room. Like when you start working in insurance or you're doing that, like you're always supposed to be talking about it. You're always supposed to be on the phone. You're always supposed to be calling. You're always supposed to be selling.
Always closing.
Like, always closing. And honest, that's just not the case 99% of the time. Like you need to, commit to it and do those actions, but we all have a life. Hopefully you have one outside of insurance. Cause I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't love it enough for this to be 24/7 my life. Like I've got other passions that I care about. And this is a great opportunity, to talk about those, but it's okay to have a side hustle. It's okay to have something else, but like, don't forget what's getting you there. Like insurance is a foundation to build upon, like you said, Tony. And that's my belief, is that if there's something you're passionate about, use insurance to allow you to pursue that passion, but never turn your back on it.
And that's, we call it a vehicle, right? Like it's like you can get in the driver's seat and it can take you where you want it to take you. Right. And so we really push that a lot as, you should have passions. And if you don't have passions, I'm going to help you find those passions. Or, and Brad, you've heard our House of Dreams and everything like that, where it's, it's just a freaking vehicle. It's just a profession that provides, right? So, but where is that vehicle driving you, and what are those stops that you're kind of taking along the road or along the trip, right? Or whatever it is that we call life. And that's what I think this podcast really helps expose. Like me and Tony are not just insurance phenoms, right? Whatever it is, even though we are, don't get me wrong. But
even though we certainly are.
Yeah, right. Even though we are. But it truly is a vehicle that has allowed for me, even personally, and I know in Tony's life too, to pursue our passion, right? And I know we'll probably get into, how Tony's a freaking master poker player and all that stuff too. But how is that possible, right? So, again, we'll stop beating the dead horse. But listen,
that's a great segue, and you need to host an episode here soon, because that's a great segue into getting into that stuff, right? And one of the reasons why
are we allowed to have more than one ginger hosting?
No, only one ginger host, only one ginger host per show.
Strawberry blonde, strawberry blonde,
only one ginger host per show. The greatest thing is, with Tony on this and with you, Joe, on this is that for especially Tony, I got to just brag on the guy. He's always like one of these people that I can tell you his hobbies, right? Like he's posting about it, he's sharing about it, he's passionate about it, and that's cool. And I didn't ever do that. The only time I ever post was like insurance, right? The only time I ever post was this, and I realized there was a disconnect. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this, is to get into some of those things. So, you know, obviously we see it all the time on the surface, Tony, the poker or the barbecue, or even talking crypto from time to time. But Joe mentioned the poker, and I want to go there because I'm a freaking degenerate gambler. Like, you want to know a little bit something about me? I'm a degenerate gambler. I like to bet on just about anything, right?
No gamble,
Anything,
no future.
Right. So, and I've reeled it in, of course, over the years, but
so much so that you challenged a semi-professional tennis player to a match of tennis. And I don't even know if you've ever picked up a racket before.
Yeah, we gotta. So for anybody that knows anything about tennis, anybody that knows anything about tennis, you're already ahead of me. But we got a 1,000, 1,000, 2,000 Nassau, which means that it's 1,000. I mean, it's 1,000 like on the front, 1,000. It's a total of $4,000 bet that we start every single game. Love 40, right? And he can't come back and beat me. Well, I didn't realize. I forgot that there's some of those games where we start love 40 that he serves first, and he's gonna freaking smoke him by me. So I've got until January 31st, or no, I can buy out before the end of February for $500, which is a deal, right? It's a $4,000 bet.
Best deal you ever make in your life.
So I can get out in the next 60 days at 5,000. I can get out before the month leading up to it. I can get out for 1,000. So I, you know, in my head, when I made that bet, I was picturing like the Rocky Balboa, like, dun, dun, and I'm like just training every day, and I'm just freaking whacking tennis balls, and I'm getting the hang of this game, and I'm going to smoke them then. But yeah, that was not bad bet. So let's talk about some good bets.
Tennis ain't pickleball.
Yeah, right. That's how we got into it. But how did you get into poker, Tony? What's the story there?
Honestly, I started learning poker probably 7 or 8 years old, sitting on my grandfather's lap. We have a family reunion every year, right? I come from a big Wallace family. There's like 100 of us. We've had an annual family reunion for 47 years in a row. And I remember being 7, 8 years old, sitting in his lap, and it would be him and his brothers and some of my uncles, and they'd be playing basically penny ante poker, right? They'd all show up with their coin jars, quarters, nickels, dimes, pennies, whatever, and they'd play dealer's choice, right? Anything from 5-card draw to 7 stud to deuces, wedges, whatever they could come up with, whatever game. And it was just social and fun. But as a little kid, those quarters looked pretty nice to me because I knew what quarters would do for me as a kid at that age. I can play a lot of video games with a whole stack of shiny quarters. So I wanted them because I like to play video games, arcade games when I was a kid, like those ones you got in the background. So I sit there in his lap and I saw them and I was like, man, I want to do this. I want to be like these guys. These guys are cool. So he started kind of teaching me how to play. I picked, you know, when you're a 7-year-old kid, your mind's a sponge. Right. So you learn the cards, the suits, the types of hands. You learn all that stuff super quick. And then you just got to learn the nuances of the game. But so I took that knowledge and actually I told him, I want to play with y'all. And he's like, well, if you bring your coins next year, you can play with us. So sure enough, I snuck in my daddy's liquor cabinet, stole his purple Crown Royal bag, and started filling it up with coins.
Oh, the good old Crown Royal bag.
Yeah, and then I showed up the next year, boom, set my coins down, and they were like, oh, he's serious. He wants to play. And so I played, and I cleaned their clock. And I'm pretty sure they probably all soft played me and folded winning hands all day to let the little kid win. But I was hooked at that. I mean, at that point, I was hooked. I took that back to the neighborhood kids and started teaching them how to play poker for milk money. And I was the milk money king on Deadman Street in the 1980s. I had all the milk money.
So from milk money to rake in massive pots, what's the biggest win Tony Merwin's seen from a single game or tournament? Whether cash game or tournament.
Tournament was just shy of 40 grand. It was
at one sitting? Like one tournament?
It was a long day. It was about an 18-hour day. But
not worth it then in that case.
Hell of a fun tournament.
If it was 18 hours for 40 grand, not worth it.
It was pretty close to that.
Times worth way more.
But that was at Choctaw during one of their spring classics or whatever they would call it, tournaments. So it wasn't like a WSOP or World Poker Tour sanctioned event, but it was a good size event, like it was a $560 buy-in if I remember correctly.
Was that first place or?
That was not first place money.
Wow.
That was final table money. I busted 5th in that event.
Wow.
First place got like 200 grand.
Wow.
That would have been worth it.
But still,
That's
that's
wild.
still a salty payday. My
No
biggest win, I won a tournament of like 93 people for like $4,000 a couple of times. I've hit a few other 100-man tournaments in the top 3 spots for $4,000 or $5,000 here or there, but that was the biggest single win.
Awesome.
Dude, that is
So.
dope. Well,
Yeah.
I got to pivot over to Joe real quick because while winning 40 grand is cool, having all of your weapons classes in Call of Duty gold,
Come on.
You can't beat that, dude. That's
Yeah.
worth what? 140 grand easy.
I mean, Call of Duty.
Easy. Hang on. Let me just read this off. Let me just read this off for the audience real quick because this is just so good, right? So Joe Kampert, he's a gamer at heart.
No, hold on.
Homes.
Ask him your question first, though, because you're like, what else is in your wheelhouse?
I can't scroll up. It's just a screenshot. I can't scroll up.
In my wheelhouse. He asked me what was in my wheelhouse. And I'm like,
Joe Kampert is a gamer at heart. He used to build homes. He played college lacrosse. Check this out. He climbed Mount Fuji, and he's been to Sega and Sony arcades downtown Tokyo. This is the big one, though. Hates cottage cheese, but all his weapons classes in Call of Duty are gold. So, yes. I mean, who cares about the cottage cheese? All weapons classes, Call of Duty, gold. That's unbelievable. Congrats.
That was the Odin was the last one, which somebody is probably like, oh, the Odin for real, dude. Like you play with that heavy assault rifle. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, dude, because it's like a triple tap and I'm moving on to the next guy. So that was my last one I just got. But yeah, man, I mean, it's funny too. You know how it started? Wow, that totally triggered me to go down this route. So hopefully I've got a couple minutes to talk here.
Just
always,
a trigger.
So
always.
We were, and I'm sure you guys have seen like the viral videos of like the kids freaking out when they're like, holy fuck, like an Xbox One. And they freak out, they're like, oh my God. Like, or when all the new systems come out. Well, when we got our first one, my mom, basically they totally BS'd us and like gave us an empty box. And we're like, bro, like for real, like you guys are really going to do us dirty like that. And that was probably when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. We had PlayStations and stuff like that, but it was like the Xbox, like when that first Xbox came out, man. And so they totally, they just gamed us. And then they're like, well, let's go downstairs, like we'll go put some TV on or something for you guys. And this was Christmas morning. And then we go down there, man, and we've got it all set up and we got like Guitar Hero and Halo. And here's the funny thing. So I was raised in a very, I would say, quote unquote, conservative, not too conservative, but conservative Christian home. And so we weren't allowed to play rated M games because you had to be the 17 or older or whatever it was. So dad, shout out Pops, would just go get Halo and Call of Duty for himself. And then me and my brother Sam would just go hard. But those were some of the craziest times that we've ever had, man, was like, dude, we would just be up and we weren't allowed to stay up past midnight. So we would like have to be super quiet. The classic, like the parents come down and you're like controller in your hand, TV's on, and you're just like asleep. Like, like I'm not playing games right
now. You're awake.
Yeah, it was so funny. But
I'm confused. Are we talking about like when you were a kid, or are we talking about recently you've done this with your wife or something?
Yeah, that's
like she's walked in and you're like,
yeah, I just get text messages and it's like 2 games, huh? And that's like, well, look, we were on a roll, It's like Warzone games.
I get the text. Are you ever coming to bed?
Yeah.
Or you could be like me and Sean the other night where we played like 8 games and lost every single one of them. So it's like, I can't stop now. We got to win a game.
Yeah, end on a dub. But it's funny. It's funny how video games, and where I feel like it's kind of funny because I feel like a lot of people don't want to like talk about how they game hard because it's like, it makes it's kind of weird, like the perception behind it. And I'm like, dude, that was like me and my brother's bond was like when we would play Halo 3 and it's like, you're not the sniper god, dude. Like, Johnny Snipey, man. God, dude. Yeah, like and it was, but dude, like
that was the highlight of growing up was those late night games. I mean, for us it was, staying up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and just playing like degenerates for 10, 12 hours, going to sleep and waking up and doing the same thing during the summer. Like that was to me like the best.
And you were probably better than I was. I was good, but like my brother was an MLG guy. I know you were, I think on the last one you were talking about how you were MLG. I would watch, my brother had a Halo coach, man, and they would like time spawn points and like where you had to like jump this, and I'm like, yo, y'all
back before the games made it easy for you and told you when things spawn. Like you had to watch the clock when you got it. You had to know where spawns were. You had to learn how to block spawns. It was
the game tells you where spawns are now.
No, it tells you when stuff like weapons pop up on the map. That makes it so much easier.
And shoot, I didn't even think about that when we were playing. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, let alone
that is kind of annoying.
And they tell you where it is on the map, and it's just
Yeah.
And again, that's why I love Halo over Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty's shoot once and keep running. Like Halo, it's a lot of team effort. Like you have to have a steady shot for sure.
That's why I like Battlefield. I used to play Battlefield. I quit playing when I grew up, but right when multiplayer war games started kind of
Battlefield
happening,
2.
there was a Warhawk. I got into a game called Warhawk on PlayStation that was big. I think it was 32 maximum multiplayer, 16 on each side, fighting over Battlefield. And then that graduated into the Battlefield game. And I played maybe 3 releases of that, and then finally woke up and decided making money was a little more important to me.
It's hard to make money at like 10 p.m. when we're gaming though. So.
Hey, there's 10-year-olds making more money than all of us combined.
The problem is we were just born a little too late.
Right.
All right. So speaking about making money, right? The whole point of this show really behind the scenes was to find out where Tony Merwin is making money on the crypto scene outside of the insurance space, right? Because I know you're into a couple of them. I've seen you posts about like maybe Luna or Solana. Something like that. There's been a few that you'd mentioned. I even mentioned in the comments. So tell us what are your hot takes on crypto right now?
I'm not as current on crypto as most people are, especially on some of the off coins or the altcoins. I jumped into it in 2017, did some research and took some pretty big positions on projects that I really liked. And I'm basically just a bag holder, right? So, and then since then, I really haven't put any money into crypto, truthfully, other than a few things here or there, or beefing up my positions on those coins, because I've been dumping everything into insurance now, growing a new agency. But
there you
anyway,
go.
And not to tie insurance back in. Sorry about that, everybody.
I need
the coins that I like, obviously, your big 3 are nice: BTC, ETH, and LTC. I don't think they're going anywhere, and I really like Litecoin a lot. But outside of that one, I have a really nice position in Binance Coin. Engine Coin, I think, is a monster that's still lurking.
I saw you
in
say
the
that
dark.
one. What's that one about? Do you know what's?
It's a gaming coin. It's absolutely a gaming coin. So this is where a lot of those NFTs for the gaming world come into play. So Engine was a established gaming company already. They had the largest Minecraft player force or whatever in the globe. They were huge. And then they realized, as all this stuff started to come to light, that hey, all those little non-fungible weapons or items or outfits or whatever that people spend money on to make their characters and their avatars do what they want them to do, cryptocurrency is perfect for that. And now we can take those items and give them a value, and they buy them and trade them and melt them via Engine Coin.
Yeah.
So I looked up their white paper and loved it, and then jumped in.
Yeah. And to add on to that too, as far as like the utility goes with NFTs, one of the groups that I'm in, someone made the greatest comparison that I've ever heard. And Joe, I don't know if you played this game, but I know a lot of people of our generation did, was RuneScape. RuneScape was a massive free to play. I mean, I can't tell you how many months and years. And I mean, I was playing it when I got into
and Wes and Blake, you guys were freaking ridiculous.
That was when internet was trash too. Yeah, man. It was like,
I remember getting my first computer, and it was like I mean, you're talking about pixels that you're playing on, not like like single.
Man,
pixels.
we were trying to get a younger audience with this show, and everyone's just showing their age.
RuneScape Classic, even now they call it. But what NFTs essentially are, like those rare items that you had in the game that would take you months and months and months to be able to obtain and hope that you get from a drop. You can buy that now and have it be an NFT, and so you can
trade it with another player, right? If their next game comes out and he's like, hey, I want the giant hammer of darkness. What's it worth? It's like, hey, it's 20 Engine Coin. He's like, well, I have the Lamborghini for this game.
Giant hammer of darkness. This man ain't played video games in a hot minute.
I didn't know where he said giant hammer. I didn't know where he was going with it.
But rather than back in the day where people would buy gold and coins and in-game currency, now they're buying an NFT that's got an in-game use. Because let's be honest, people will spend the most amount of their income on things that they enjoy doing, on hobbies. And gaming is absolutely there for a large portion of America.
Yeah. Think about all the phone games that people play, right? And they may be a free download, but then as you're going through it, like 8-ball pool, like we were talking about, people are apparently live streaming that one, but you'll get to a certain point, maybe a certain level, and you're having trouble beating it, and so you have to buy some gear or some.
Oh, I love that. I love when I can buy my way to the top.
On that. Right. When you just buy, it's the same thing. Like, why couldn't you just have your gaming account on there loaded up with Engine Coin or whatever the token is. And then instead of doing dollars, you're just running them through there.
I like that.
So there was another one that came out called Fun Token. I don't think that one ever did anything. I think that one fizzled out pretty quick.
But engine's still rolling.
Engine's killing it, man.
You said you leaped in or something, but I immediately thought of the actual like crypto term that people say is aped in. So you aped in.
Yeah, I aped in on that one in 2017. So it's done really well for me. Binance Coin has killed it because they're a big supporter in the NFT space.
Yeah.
And then I'm not very knowledgeable in the NFT stuff at all. Like I get what's going on there. I just don't understand why it works. I understand why it works in the gaming environment. Makes complete sense to me that your items in the gaming world as NFTs have value. I don't get the artwork thing though. Doesn't make any sense.
Do you get
me.
artwork?
I love hearing. I get artwork, but I loved what Sean was talking about. Is where you can you can create your own NFT, buy it with your own ether, and then sell it back to yourself or something to that effect. And now you have more ether. Plus, you still have this NFT that you have created a value for of X number of dollars.
It's crazy.
Which sounds nuts.
Absolutely crazy.
So that's definitely a place I want to learn more and start doing some stuff. Start trying to figure something out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting, segment of crypto. And I haven't even gotten big into NFTs just because there's a lot of rug pulls and I don't fully understand them. But I love the NFT projects that have a utility use, a tangible use.
Right.
Because to me, crypto gaming's the next future in gaming. There's no reason not to. It's like you have Fortnite who changed multiplayer games by coming out with a completely free to play multiplayer, which, let's be honest, anyone that buys a video game buys it for the multiplayer aspect today.
Right.
So you're taking your main priority that people buy a game for, you're making it free so you can get it in the hands of millions of people. And then you're selling skins and stuff that doesn't actually affect gameplay, but people do it because it's cool. And it's like, well, I didn't pay $60 for the game, so I can go buy $60 of in-game currency. Next thing you know, you spend $100 and it adds up. So I love that aspect because all these crypto games are free to play, but you can earn a lot more by buying their NFTs or buying their projects. And
I'd never made that relationship to, because it actually is it's accurate, is that it's like a skin is like an NFT, right? It's like it's how your player is represented. And I didn't ever even make that correlation that, oh shit, like that is okay.
It's a
like
digital piece of property.
Correct.
And the
but
more
rather than
rare
everyone
that
having the same
skin
one,
is,
you've
the
got
more value it's got.
Yeah, and you've got, number 123 out of 5,000. So it's
I think people that say they don't get NFTs or don't get crypto, for instance, or for that matter, just haven't really done enough actual research with an open mind, because off on the surface, on first glance, it's like, yeah, that's dumb, right? You got a freaking digital photo of a monkey smoking a cigar and it's worth $20,000 US, right? But that's the art part of it that I don't fully understand. However, it plays into human nature. Oh, this thing is expensive and nice and worth something, and gives me clout in real life. I'm gonna buy it, right? Like, why not? Because I can.
I'm like, man, go ahead and post that shit on your timeline because I'm taking screenshots, baby.
That's right.
Is that how that works? Is that
it is, but
not quite apparently.
But when that guy sells it and makes a ton of money, and you're just sitting there holding your phone with the screenshot, it's still
crazy.
he's still winning, right? In that example. So everybody that says that, it's like, well, who cares? If I'm the guy that owns that piece of digital property and a bunch of people screenshot and posting there's a profile picture, whatever, I'm like, hey man, more power to you. You ever go to sell that screenshot, and I'm going to sue you. You're screwed.
It's like shoes too, like with the off-whites. Like I can take a Sharpie to a pair of Air Force Ones and put a zip tie on there all day. Doesn't mean it's a $2,000 shoe all of a sudden. Like people buy it for what it is.
Isn't that what you did to your Air Force Ones, Joe?
Come on now. I don't rock Jordan ones.
Guy all day.
I rock Jordan ones. You guys want to see them? I'm actually worried about creasing them underneath. I got Redwood custom too.
I love those.
Come on now.
I love those.
So
how many pairs of Jordans do you own?
Gold weapons worth? That's what I want to know. In Call of Duty, those are non-fungible tokens,
it's all about a time investment. That's
I was going to say. When you get to the time invested, that's serious.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. There might be, maybe you're done playing Call of Duty one day and there's some other guy that's like, I do not want to invest that time.
Sure.
How do I get all those gold
I can't
weapons
sell
from
my
you?
gamer tag though. I don't even know if I can say it on like on a Facebook Live. It was so all right, let's tell this story. This is a great story. So some of y'all know. So I'm super big with like coaching youth and really trying to impact future generations, right? And so I'm involved with my youth program at church. And so I was in charge of we have like it was during COVID stuff, so it was everything like virtual, but we were trying to like still keep the kids engaged, right? So we did it was like a hangout night, but like you could go play this, you could hop on House Party, you could go play Call of Duty. They had all these virtual activities. Well, I'm hosting the gaming night, and so I have Call of Duty. Well, my Call of Duty gamer tag is the Hood Pope 69, and I can't figure out how to change it. So then all these freaking kids from my church are joining. They're like, "Who's the Hood Pope 69?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot!" I'm like, "Y'all, look, I got this Xbox from another guy. I haven't been able to figure out to change my Activision handle, and I've already got like half my weapons gold, so I ain't changing it now." You know what I'm saying?
And I'm not paying the $10 to change it.
Yeah, right, exactly. That was a funny story because I'm like, oh, not me.
That's not so bad. I thought it was gonna be much worse.
My current gamer tag, right? Because I haven't changed it since I got back into it. My current gamer tag is XX juiced up XX because I was. So my other one was Major Lee Swole. So for Call of Duty, that was my gamer tag, Major Lee Swole. And then one of my best ones was, you know how like when in Halo, it didn't do it as much in Call of Duty, but in Halo, when they had the kill cam and it would say the person who killed you, right? Joe Kampert killed you.
Yeah.
So mine was mine was IR guy who. So when I killed somebody, they read IR guy who killed you. I thought it was so clever, dude.
That's
so funny.
Bad.
Oh,
that's my
where's my hand clapping one? Never mind. I'll just do this.
My Xbox tag is Joe Dini, like Houdini, but like Joe Dini, you know.
It's so fun. There's always great stories behind everybody's gamer tag. Mine's actually a good friend of mine who I play Halo with. His is It's Just That Big. And so I made my gamer tag Why So Big. And so everybody loves it. And he gets pissed off every single time they bring it up because all I did was troll him with my gamer tag. And I think it's been like 7 years and I won't change it.
He's still rolling with that same. And now you can change your gamer tag. So if you wanted to change your gamer tag, you can change it. I learned that when we got the new Xbox, but I still haven't changed mine. What's your if Tony Merwin had a gamer tag, what would it be?
Well, based on my love for martial arts and all my training, I had to go with something Eastern. So I went with Who Flung Poo.
No, you did not. That was not real. You just came up with that.
No, I didn't. That was my tag. But I did steal it. I will say I stole it off of Golden Tee.
Yeah.
I saw some dude that had Who Flung Poo as his tag on Golden Tee, so I snagged it.
That's genius.
I thought it was great.
You guys want to know what Pops is? My dad.
Oh man, yes.
So he created his new one, and it's this big red twin. And I said, Dad, like, and he goes, dude, I felt so dumb after I created it, but I already created it.
It's not a description of you. It's a gamer tag. It's like
big red twin.
So the funny thing is, so my buddy who I made my gamer tag off of, who's now Why So Big, when we first started playing, and Joe, you can attest to this, like when Xbox Live first became a thing, Halo 2, like you could come up with most names, but if you were the person, like if you try to create your gamer tag and you put Joe, it was most likely taken. Because who doesn't have their first name taken?
Right.
Or Xbox Live is around for like 2-3 years. He creates his gamer tag, puts his first name in, and it was available.
Wow.
And he was, at the time, I searched his first name on Facebook, and there were 2 no leases on Facebook. One was him, one was some Indian girl. That was it. So his gamer tag was his first name for probably about 5-6 years.
That's amazing. I love it. Well, we've talked about crypto.
Good segment there. Yeah,
we've talked about gaming. The one thing we haven't talked about that we advertise, and so it would be false advertising if we didn't talk about it, is Texas barbecue. And Tony Merwin is the master of Texas barbecue from what I've seen.
Well, I'm an amateur compared to what I'm surrounded by, but that's the nice thing about being in the space that I'm in Austin. I mean, Central Texas barbecue is bar none. This is the capital of it. So
is that another one of those things where insurance was the vehicle, right, that allowed you to buy expensive hunks of meat and screw it up, or nice grills? Is that another one of the attributes to the beautiful vehicle of insurance?
To some extent, yes. You know, I'm not super high dollar when it comes to barbecue. I'm old school.
Okay.
And this again ties back to our family reunion, because that's what the older guys did every year. One of the days we ate barbecue. So one poor uncle or cousin would spend all day for 18 hours or more schlepping over a hot fire pit just to serve the other 70 of us really good barbecue.
Wow.
So that flavor got into me. And coming from South Texas, mesquite is everywhere. So I love the mesquite flavor. So that's what I like to cook over. Some people think it's too strong, but I love it. As long as you know to tamper it properly. But, you know, it's not super expensive to get into barbecue. My pit's not even a big deal. I bought just a old school Oklahoma Joe's, you know, offset firebox pit.
So you use the old school smoker.
Great.
You're not pellet smoker, box, electric smoker, none of those things. You're just an old school Oklahoma
over
Joe.
wood. I'm watching it the whole time, adjusting the fire, keeping it going tight, you know, and I follow a very specific method, and I actually follow Aaron Franklin's method. If you don't know who Aaron Franklin is, he is the pit master. He runs Franklin's Barbecue here in Austin, which is the #1 rated barbecue joint by Texas Monthly's Top 50 for like the last 10 years or something. Like, he's killing it. His food is so good. If you want to go eat at Franklin's, you have to get there at 6 a.m. and wait in line, just so you know for a fact that you're at the front of the line and can have your choice of meats. Because
it was
by about
Aaron
11,
Franklin?
Aaron, Aaron, Aaron. Because usually by somewhere around lunchtime, he's sold out, or right after lunch. Wow. He's usually sold out of everything. It's a small batch barbecue. It's outstanding.
And there's a line like wrapped around the freaking
it's ridiculous. People, you know, you would think people are hanging out overnight for Motley Crue tickets or something, right? And they're camping out on the street to make sure they get Motley Crue tickets. Sorry, dating myself again.
Oh, shit. You just dated yourself so bad.
Who the hell's still alive?
I'm sorry, Justin
You would think
Bieber
it was like a
tickets.
Motley Crue concert.
Maybe Justin Bieber tickets.
The Joe Bros.
Y'all speak. But it's the same thing. Like, people get there super early. They bring ice chest and chairs, and they hang out in front of Franklin's until it opens, and then they all go through and they eat all the barbecue. You can cheat, and you can call in and order, I believe it's 5 pounds minimum, and then you can just go pick it up and leave. You don't have to deal with the line, which is nice. But he has a book on Amazon. He's got
a master class. So
he has a master class. Absolutely. And he has a book on Amazon, which I highly recommend. It's called Aaron Franklin's Meat Cooking Manifesto. So it's only like $30. I bought that, and I follow his method 100% on any of the. Now, I generally only cook beef. I'll do I'm not a big fan of pulled pork and stuff. I mean, it's good if it's done right, but it's not my space. My space is all beef ribs and beef brisket.
It's entry-level barbecue.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's kind
of. So I follow his method 100%, and it's lights out every time I pull it off. You've seen some of the stuff I put out there.
Yeah,
Joe's tasted it. Is it any good, Joe?
It's solid. Yeah.
How close are you guys? Like, Joe, can you throw a rock and hit Tony's house? Can you walk to his house?
With my arm, yes, I can. I'm like Uncle Rico, dude. I can
throw a 4-iron. I can probably hit a 4-iron over there.
So you're saying you could throw a brisket and hit his house?
Yeah, I can throw a pigskin a quarter mile, baby.
But it's practically walking distance.
We could if we really wanted to.
Yeah, maybe jog. Wow, that's awesome.
I'd say what, 1.5 miles?
Yeah,
that's about how far we are, roughly.
Yeah,
maybe 2.
Yeah, not even.
I'm not walking that far though.
Yeah.
We're close enough that his wife had to run me off, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Merwin, you're over here way too much. Come on,
man.
Don't you have a
dude?
home?
I'm surprised that Joe's not over at your house more often with the baby, because you know sometimes you need to get away. If you know what I mean.
That's We're not going to talk about the I word, but that's the office.
my newest is totally different than my firstborn, because he always wants to be held. So he's just like constantly here, somewhere, being held. The moment you put him down, it's not happening. So he likes the attention. But listen, before we wrap it up here, before we sign off, I do want to talk a brief thing about insurance, because if you are, look, Janae said y'all have me wanting barbecue this weekend. If you are
come to the Digital Frontier workshop,
listen,
come to the workshop.
We're gonna have some barbecue in Austin, right? We're gonna have some Texas barbecue. Is there any good barbecue in Austin, Tony? I think you just got done saying it was the best ever, right?
Yeah, throw a rock. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's just around the corner from where the event is at. is Styles Switch, which is usually in the top 5 of all of Texas. It's outstanding.
Okay. So aside from the amazing content that we'll have at the event, the Digital Frontier Workshop event on Saturday, right? Which if you have not, we're not going to get deep into the weeds here on what it is. We've posted so much about it. You've already seen about it. What I can tell you is that we have some legendary folks coming. I mean, I'm most excited because Mike Moore is sharing some of the, the practices of becoming $1 million ACA agent. I mean, it's just that's like an oxymoron even saying that. And the guy's doing it because he's a freaking genius by himself. Exactly. Like he's building a small team, but yeah, I mean, practically by himself. We've got some great speakers lined up. We've got great content, great information. If you haven't already, we'll drop a link in all of these live stream comments so that you can participate in that. And then if nothing else, right, if you're on this podcast, the Insurance Sucks podcast, where we like to talk about anything but insurance, you're a perfect fit for the Austin Agent Hangout on Friday, because we're talking insurance for 10, 15 minutes and then we're hanging out, right? Yeah. And that's where we're hanging out. That's a dope spot. For sure.
He has his own private room called the Back Room at
Sport Local, baby.
It's really nice, actually.
I love it.
And then also we are serving barbecue for lunch at the Digital Frontier Workshop. So
look at that.
Get excited.
Look at that. Look at that. I love it, man. Well, guys, it's always a pleasure to see you. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in person at the end of the week. And anything you want to say before we sign off here?
Tony, you go first.
I have nothing.
Oh, God.
I like that.
You were the...
It was more rhetorical, Joe. It was more rhetorical.
Oh, is that? Well, hey guys, insurance sucks. Brad just makes it sucks less. So look, you want me to say that?
This is all about Brad at the end of the day. Let's
go. Oh, I love it. I love it. Isn't it?
Hustle hard.
All right, I love you guys so much. I'll see you later this week, and thanks for tuning in, everybody.